Welcome to the RV Park Mastery Podcast, where you will learn the correct way to identify, evaluate, negotiate, perform due diligence on, renegotiate, finance, turn around, and operate RV parks. And now, here is your host, the fifth largest owner of RV and mobile home parks in the U.S., Frank Rolfe.
Let's admit it, we are all impressed with uniforms. When we see people wearing a uniform, when we see businesses that are branded with a uniform look, it definitely makes us feel safer, happier, better about whatever activity we're doing. This is Frank Rolfe here with the RV Park Mastery Podcast. We're talking about uniforms. If it is time to take your business to the next level, to have people wearing uniforms and to bring a uniform look to the property. Let's first talk about why it is beneficial for a property to look corporate, to look like a big company. Well, obviously, the first reason is it just looks professional. It's hard to imagine a large business, whether it is Federal Express or United Airlines, in which a uniform doesn't give all of us a greater sense of security and affirm the buying decision to use that product or service. We would be horrified if someone showed up, for example, with a FedEx package wearing a t-shirt with a rock band on it. We'd say, well, this can't be FedEx, this can't be right. And then we started inspecting the package thinking, well, it must be broken inside. Because a guy dressed like that, well, he couldn't be professionally delivering packages. So we all have kind of a stigma about things that look big company. So the first reason you'd want to look big company is simply that. When you look like a big company, then it's a turn on for customers. There's no question about that. The next item is it gives you kind of a liability hedge. People, when they see uniforms in big companies, they also imagine that that big company probably also has a big budget and a big law firm, and they really don't want to mess with that if they were going to file some kind of strange liability claim like a slip and fall. Some people would say, well, but wouldn't that egg them on to do it? No. Because a lot of your personal injury lawyers and such, they learned over time that big companies don't just get at the old checkbook in the case of a problem. It's more the small mom and pop that feels overwhelmed that doesn't know what to do. Next, you have the simple fact that it deflects anger off the manager if there is in fact any problem. So when a manager looks to be part of a big corporation, it's much easier for the manager, if there's something that went wrong with the customer's experience, to not take the heat, but simply say, well, you know, I just work at this company, but I know they want to make you happy. Let's get this solved. So it helps to deflect that negative experience. And on top of that, it does give you one extra decision-making moment, gives you one more chef in the kitchen, one more bit of good cop, bad cop, because now you, in fact, do have the ability to get it as an active participant in whatever the problem is, you, namely, as the owner, because when it's a big company, they don't assume the manager can make decisions by themselves. And it seems perfectly reasonable that they would want to go ahead and vet that decision with their boss, the next person up the totem pole. Next, and this is the really big one, obviously, when you see someone from a big company wearing a uniform, then it's going to give the customer the belief of higher rents. It's just the way it works. When we see a big company and how professional it is, we just assume, as part of their mandate of being big, of being corporate, that they're going to charge a little more. And we're okay paying that because we feel so much better about life when we have a big company that we're working with, when we're entrusting our travel trip as a customer. When we see that uniform man, we're willing to pay a little more for that because we feel like that was a much better buying decision. So if uniforms are that great, then why don't we have uniforms everywhere? Well, there are some reasons. There are some things that uniforms don't give or send the signal that's as positive. Normally it's not, though, from a customer experience. A lot of people say, well, I want to stay small because when I stay small, that's the way for me to go and buy other RV parks. Well, yeah, a lot of mom and pops would rather work with the small mom and pop owner than the big corporation. But how many parks are you going to go out there and buy? And if you did, on those occasions, couldn't you dress down and not try and look so corporate? Other people will say, well, you know, but looking corporate is so expensive. Well, let's look at that for a moment. All right, what does it cost to actually have the look of being a big company? Let's start with the uniform itself. that your manager might wear. Most manager uniforms don't include anything more than a shirt, typically a polo shirt that's sewn in the name of the RV park. That is not an expensive item. You can get a very professional shirt like that for about $40. All bills paid with embroidery. And if you want to make it even look more professional, in the winter months or when it's raining, how about giving them a couple coats? Again, with the RV park sewn onto it. And again, that's not that expensive. Go online and look. You can probably get a very, very nice windbreaker / raincoat for maybe $50, $60. And you can even get a nice thick winter coat with all your embroidery on it for about $100. That is a very, very small investment. If I bought 2 polo shirts, fully embroidered, and 2 coats, what am I really talking about spending? Well, maybe $250. How long will it last? Years and years and years. Is that a reasonable bang for the buck? Well, I would say so. Definitely would. What else can I do to look more corporate, to look more uniform as far as the park itself? Well, a nice sign out front would help a lot. What's a sign out front cost? Depends on the sign, but often you can get a sign for a couple $1,000s. You may say, oh, now we're talking big money. Well, but are you really, when you look at the impact of that on your customers? I don't think so. I think studies have found that signs are well worth paying more for, that they're definitely something that has a lot of bang for the buck. Another item we've found in our properties that gives you a lot of bang for the buck is when you install all the signage in the park that is all the same. And the best way to do that is by using white vinyl posts, sleeved over 4x4 posts, and with an attractive cap on the top, and then just drilling into that your new signs. It's not expensive at all. You can replace all of the signage throughout your RV park that is not attractive, maybe old rusty metal or old beat up wood with signs that are in horrible condition. When you change all of that out, it does have an enormous impact. It does make you look like a much, much larger corporation. And again, the cost isn't much. You can probably replace every sign in that property for $100 to $200 a pole. 10 of those signs, maybe signs that say, here is the lot numbering system to help people out. Maybe things that say, caution, children at play, things like that. Those are not expensive. You might be able to do the entire RV park for maybe, once again, a couple $1,000s. That's not really that expensive for what you get for it. And then there's all kinds of other little items that help give an RV park that edge, to make it look more corporate in nature. Such things as more professional trash cans. Don't buy an aluminum trash can down at the hardware store. That looks cheap. That looks cheesy. Go online and buy one that's more professional. The kinds that you see in city parks. Again, seemingly expensive, but not that bad. You can buy one of those trash cans, fully professional, for maybe $400 to $500. Maybe in a nice forest green color, what other color you found attractive. That looks so much more professional. And while we're really trying to get everything perfect, let's not forget other items such as simply striping your streets. That has a huge, huge impact. Installing some flags out on your frontage to catch the eye and give it more of a professional look. Again, not a lot of money there. So the bottom line is when people tell me, well, it's too expensive for me to look like a big corporation, that's rarely true. Every step I just talked about, you could achieve it all for probably $5,000 or less. There's no way you can tell me that was not $5,000 well spent. The bottom line to it is that branding and uniforms, these are the type of things that will really help take your property to the next level. So when you have a property that looks well-groomed, like it's owned by a big company, even though it's not, you will get better values at appraisal. You will get more attracted banks. You will get better loan terms. You will get happier customers. You will get better social media reviews. You're going to get everything better. And speaking of social media reviews, let's not forget, we now live in the world of the internet. So another part of having that big company feel is you need to always be found under any simple search on Google of an RV park in whatever that community may be. with a professional website and good, hopefully 4 and 5-star social media reviews. Now, what does all that cost? Very little. You can have someone build a website, typically $500, maybe $1,000, lasts a lifetime, and social media reviews are basically free. So is SEO online. The bottom line to it all is too many RV park owners are not taking full advantage of all the options available to them to have that big company look. And that's a shame because there's great benefit to having uniforms, to branding your property, to making it look more corporate. This is Frank Rolfe, the RV Park Mastery Podcast. Hope you enjoyed this. Talk to you again soon.
Thank you for listening to the RV Park Mastery Podcast. Be sure to visit us at www.rvparkmastery.com, where you can learn the correct way to identify, evaluate, negotiate, perform due diligence on, renegotiate, finance, turn around, and operate in RV parks.